I'm Talia.
And I'm Eduardo.
And this video is to answer the question, why are soils important on a construction site? Soils are important on a construction site because ultimately they are the foundation of every project. Soils are made up of broken rock particles. This happens through a process called weathering. The main types of soils that you can find are gravel, silt, sand, or clay.
And earlier today, we got a sample outside my house, and this is just a little sample of the different layers that we have. So the bottom one is that we have is gravel, and then the middle one is dirt, and then the top one is organic matter. So going back to the question, why is soil important within a construction site? Basically, it's very important for you to know the type of soil that you have in your construction site, because that will determine whether or not your structure will stay up or it will fall. Basically, like Talia said earlier, the soil is basically the foundation of every structure. And so within the construction industry, just a rule of thumb is basically just to strip out the topsoil, just because the topsoil or the organic soil is very rich. We don't want any plants or anything growing or weeds growing out of it, because weeds are Mother Nature's is a force to reckon with. So with that, a foundation can easily crack, or it can just fall apart just with organic matter or with weeds. So just a rule of thumb within the construction industry is just to strip out the top one, and with that you can tell if it's organic or not based on the smell. And that you also use different other methods of testing the soil. But as an example, a little metaphor, I guess, we have a little plant here, and basically, as you can tell, this plant, basically the dirt or the soil with underneath it, it's its foundation. Without the soil, this plant wouldn't even be alive or be up and standing. Just like within the construction industry or within a structure, the soil is basically everything. Without it, there wouldn't be any structures, there wouldn't be anything. And it's kind of important to know what the type of soil you have, because if this plant would have only had dirt, it would probably have a harder time growing. But within the structure is not really alive, it's just a structure. So it really doesn't need the topsoil like a plant does, but soil overall, whether it's organic or not, it's very important to just everything that's around us, or everything that's standing up. So that's why it's very important to have soil within the construction industry, and also to know the type of soil that you have within your area.
So in the construction industry, since soils are so important, as Eduardo said, you want to be aware of certain reports, like a geotechnical report that tells you the type of soils that are on the project, and as well as a stormwater pollution prevention plan. And what that plan is, it helps tell you also what type of soils is on the project, as well as any possible pollutants or hazardous materials that are on the site. You really want to be aware of those because they're hazardous. The way you contain those are through the best management practices, so they're called BMPs. It's a very well-known name, and they're contained by certain things, so like a silt dike or a silt fence around the project perimeter, or the gravel entrances in and out the project. All of those are considered a best management practice for containing your hazardous pollutions on a job site. So those are what you want to be aware of. And this concludes our extra credit assignment for the question, why are soils important? Thanks.